Welcome to Small Practice Support Information Session number 41. In this Law Society of Ireland recording, Lisa Nolte asks, how client intelligent is your practice?
We'll get started. So I'll just formally introduce, I'm here, Small Practice Information Session 41. I'm here with Lisa Nolte, who works with Inside Six, who works as a customer, which is a customer experience platform. They've worked with over 100 UK working on customer insights and customer experience, and they help businesses develop their sort of business and sales growth. So Lisa, you're very welcome to be with us today.
Thank you.
And I'll stop sharing my screen and allow you to take it from here. So if anybody would like to ask a question, we can take it on the chat, and you're all very welcome today.
Okay.
So what have you got for us, Lisa? Yeah.
Is that all good, Justin?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, if you want to put it on the slide share, you can. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I suppose the first place to start is to look at the link between client intelligence and business growth, because we all ultimately want to grow our businesses. So client intelligence, really, it sounds very complex, but it's really quite simple. It's about gathering intelligence about your clients so that you can understand them better, you can personalize your response to them and your approach, which will then make you more client-centric. So client-centric businesses generally will exceed expectations of their clients, so they'll have a better experience. And if they have a better experience, well, of course, they're going to come back to you if they need more help. They will refer you to family and friends. So this ultimately leads to long-term business growth. And I think it's important to note that it costs 5 times as much to get a new client as it does to retain an existing client. So the return business and the referrals will cost you less. So it will be more profitable business growth.
So it kind of makes sense. If your customer knows you, you've done business with them before, more likely that they'll make further purchases from you if you have an ongoing relationship with them. And so the objective of today is to understand that relationship better.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. So what is client intelligence? Very straightforward. It's the process of collecting and analysing client data with the objective of gaining a better understanding of your clients, which will then lead to a better client experience. Now, that might seem a bit scary. It might look very time consuming. I'm not suggesting somebody should be sitting in their practice for hours on end, analysing information. I'm sure there are plenty of people that can support that process. But, throughout the client journey, the client is actually leaving behind information about themselves. And if you can pick up on this information on their behaviours, their challenges, their concerns, their personal circumstances, then you can get to know them a bit better, and that will help improve the experience. So there's really 2 types of data. So there's information that already exists in your business, and you might know it's there, you might be using it already, or you might not be aware that it is there. And I'll explain that in more detail later. But also there's information that you will need to collect as well. So that will give you a really full picture of your clients. So there are 4 key characteristics of a client intelligent business, and this is quite complex. I'm not going to expand on it. If anybody needs any more information after the session, I have no problem taking a call. But first of all, a client intelligent firm will understand what point in the journey value is created, and they will actively execute that part of the journey in a way that will add the value and make the customer feel more valued. Also, any other team members in the firm will also know what experience they are required to deliver. It's not just about the solicitor who deals directly with the client. It's everyone across the business needs to understand the priority and what the expectations are from the client. And in addition to that, also it's about monitoring a range of key customer-driven measures and making changes. So it's not just about having the information, you need to do something with it to make the experience better, to drive more business. And then finally, you know, a client intelligent firm will understand the cost of failure in terms of its client promise. So look, nobody is perfect. There will be problems when you work with customers, consumers, clients, whatever, you know, you will have problems, and that's okay. It's about how you resolve the problem, and it's about understanding why there was a problem, how much it cost you in time to resolve it. If there was a bill reduction, of course, that's going to eat into your margin. So it's about understanding that as well.
So Lisa, just on that previous slide there, what's the best way in practical terms of companies or firms adopting this theory? Like, do they need to sort of do a mapping exercise of all of the customer engagements? How do they bring the team on board?
Yes, that's exactly it. So journey mapping is brilliant to have a look at all of they're called touch points in the journey. And you can, again, customer journey mapping is a very broad subject. So today I've just focused on the key touch points and what type of intelligence you can be building at each of these points. So the first stage really is the research stage. So someone needs help, they need legal help. So they will either ask around for referrals, but either way, they will probably take to Google and do a search. Now, I'm not an expert on search engine optimization at all, but I suppose my thing is, because I'm a very commercial person, so is your website actually working for you? You've invested a lot of money, and it can't just be all about vanity and impression. It needs to really, really work. So I know you can get web traffic measures. Google Analytics has got a wealth of knowledge about who's visiting your site, what pages they're landing on, how much time they're spending, what content they're looking at. And now, if whoever's built your website will be able to get all this for you, you know, they really should be sending you a report every month and making recommendations. But the key thing here as well is, if you have an online inquiry form, you need to monitor how many inquiries you're getting through your website, because again, it's about measuring. You know, is when people when they browse your website, are they then motivated enough to send an inquiry? So that's another measurement. And then the other area is social media engagement.
So just on that web analytics, Lisa, sorry to interrupt you, is like, what are the key characteristics, or what should I be looking for? Or is there one metric that I can kind of analyze around who fills out forms, how many forms? Is there, you know, how do I? Oh,
yes. So I think measuring the inquiries, well, I mean, really, you would need somebody, whoever is managing your inquiries in your practice. So if it's your receptionist, you know, that really can be built into their role in terms of taking down looking at the inquiries, passing them on, but keeping a record of the number of inquiries that have come in. So, you know, you need to understand how many inquiries you're getting from your web activity.
Okay, so it's important to assign staff members to specific roles. Makes it easier. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, oh, definitely. If you have some, and again, yes, I feel that it's whoever's answering the phone would also manage this. So one of my clients at the moment has just revamped their website, and it's the receptionist who has that role to monitor the online inquiries and tracking where they go and how they you know, do they measure if they convert to business. And then on social media, I've noticed it's become, I've seen a lot more activity from legal practices on social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And again, I mean, these are all great channels. and there are lots of insights into how it's all working. Again, you need to know if your content is working. There is no point, and I go back to whoever your partner is for your social media, they need to be giving you a social media analysis report every month. I do it for one of my clients because I want to know what marketing activity, what messages are working. And then if something's working, yes, do more of it. And if it's not, then you need to look, you need to review it. So,
so just on those social media analytics, is there any particular metric I should be looking at, or any particular piece of detail that you think is most important? Is it the number of likes or shares or?
No, not really
views?
likes. That's kind of a bit cosmetic. It's the engagement figures you need to look at. It's how people are engaging, but also
and when you describe engagement, what do you mean by that? I know
how people have the percentage of how people have engaged with your post. So they've if they have how much time they've spent looking at it. But also then you need to measure if you get a query from social media, you need to be measuring that as well if it has converted into an inquiry.
And are you seeing any particular social media platforms that are more effective for legal firms?
I think Facebook and Instagram are very good because they're more they're consumer based. So it's good. I think it's good from an awareness point of view. I mean, I think ultimately your website can do a really good job for you. The social media really is about awareness. It's about presence. You can sponsor posts and adverts, which is great. But again, it's just about understanding if you're getting any inquiries through that. But mainly it's a kind of awareness role that it plays. So
and where do you see LinkedIn in this process?
I believe LinkedIn is, it depends what the profile of your practice is. Because look, you're going to have to develop content that is that's suitable for each of the channels. Like LinkedIn is
sort of more commercial operators.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are consumers there too. Again, it's just about the message that you're sending out, and it's making it relevant. There's a lot of noise out there as well.
So you just need to be really clear who your target audience is for the messages you send.
Who you're targeting, what your messages are, and again, looking at the engagement to understand what works really well, what works for you, and what doesn't. So, okay, so the initial inquiry bit then. So somebody has been on your website, they really like what they see, so they decide to either send a web inquiry or pick up the phone. So a key measure here that you should be capturing is the number of new inquiries that you're receiving, because then you understand what channels are working for you. The other thing then is the source of the inquiry. So at this point, it's really good to understand from the client, how did you hear about us? So was it a referral? Was it website? Was it social media? Was something else? Maybe it was some other sort of advertising, but you need to know what business you're getting from all of your channels, and then you can understand, well, is it worth spending money on this? So if you've spent a lot of money on your website, but you still have 90% of your business as referrals, then your website isn't working. So you need to go and have a look at how you can help use it to drive more business. And then also at this point, so the initial inquiry, there's the potential client will obviously get through the reception, and then they will have the opportunity to speak to a solicitor. So it's good to get into a conversation about what their concerns are, what challenges they have, because every client will have different things going on in their life. So you have to nearly think about, well, how you can modify your service slightly to to help, like, so it works for them. So this, and also if you're getting into that type of conversation, because it's quite sort of emotional territory, so, but it's kind of then a bit more empathetic, and it's going to make that client feel more valued and potentially instruct you to take on the transaction. So then the next stage is follow up. So what this is, so our researchers measure this stage follow up, and what that is, so it's after the initial inquiry. So you can't assume that after the initial inquiry that you're going to be instructed to take on the transaction, because potentially this client will have shopped around. So, but it's really important that you capture all of your new inquiries and you follow up. We recommend 3 to 4 days to pick up the phone again to that person and say, look, you know, I spoke to you on Monday, you know, will we go ahead? You know, it's kind of asking for the business, which is fine, because they're going to really appreciate you ringing them again. So at this point, then you're looking at your conversion rate. So this is your business conversion rate, which is your new business as a percentage of all of your new inquiries. And also, if you don't get the business, you know, look, you need to understand why. So if you understand why this person has decided to go with another firm, you can get some insight, some intelligence as to what you maybe need to do better in the future to win more business. And then, assuming they have instructed you, then you're at the engagement piece. So obviously a lot of dialogue going on here about the transaction, but it's a good point as well to really get to know your client. So I'm a great believer in gathering information throughout the transaction in regard to customer satisfaction. How happy are they? Because if you're asking as you go along, you know, if there are any problems, you can reveal them early and you can resolve them, rather than getting to the end of a transaction and maybe the client has an issue with the bill, maybe they feel that the communication wasn't as good as it should have been. So then you're into a problem, you have a problem, because then you have to resolve this. It'll probably result in a reduction of the bill, so that's going to eat into your margin. So I think just checking in, and you can do this in a formal way with the survey, but just checking in to understand if the client is happy. And again, it's, you know, getting to know the client at this stage, building a relationship, you know, and then you can start understanding maybe what future legal needs they might have. And it's all about knowledge, building a relationship, and looking for future opportunities, or just making sure that they feel that they've had such a great service that they will come back to you. So this is actually a really key point in the journey here, because at this point there's a lot of dialogue with the client, and they are actually constantly making they're forming impressions of how happy they are. So, and then finally we get to the end of the matter, and you know, the client gets their keys or whatever, and the bill gets sent out, but it can't really stop there. You know, it's just so important to ask the client, to ask for feedback about the experience, and also find out, well, how likely would they be to refer you to a friend or a family member. So this is a really important point, and it doesn't have to be a massive survey. It can be very short. How happy? Why would why did you comment that way? And would you refer us? And it's just very, very simple. And also, it's a great opportunity to get testimonials from clients and to drive more reviews, more online reviews. I'm just going to talk a wee bit more about that. So, testimonials and reviews. So, I mean, some businesses are probably a little bit scared of Google reviews because anyone can go and write a review. And so if they're all great, yeah, that's brilliant. But if there's a negative review, nobody likes to see that. But you know, if you handle it in the right way, then it's not all bad. But when a potential client is Googling for legal help, you know, if if they see lots of good reviews, then that's going to help them make a decision about who they're going to contact. And even if you have been referred to them, they're still going to go to Google. I mean, we all do it. If we hear about a business, we're straight to Google to find the website. So it's a really great addition if you're there and you have lots of reviews. But also with regard to testimonials, it's great for other team members to get feedback. You know, who doesn't like being told what a great job they've done? It's just really, really motivational. So it's good to get into this culture of asking for feedback, asking for testimonials. And you know what? If you do get a bad review or client's not happy, it kind of, at least if you've got a really positive backdrop, then you can deal with any of the negative stuff, because there's lots of positive stuff there as well. And I just want to give you a bit of an update on what's happening across the water with the Solicitors Regulation Authority. So they have, client reviews are really high on their agenda at the moment, because they have realised that in the legal sector, reviews have become really, really important to help consumers make a decision. And so really what they want to do is they want to improve access to this type of information for consumers. So at the moment, they have engaged with Review Solicitors, which is an online site, reviewsolicitors.co.uk. So they've appointed them to support the initial pilot study. So I suppose the reason I wanted to capture this was because, you know, we now have the LSRA in Ireland, and I've had a good look at their strategic plan, and there's lots of stuff in there about customer experience, you know, the quality of service. And I do feel that the stakeholders in that organisation will be looking at what the SRA are doing. So I suppose the key message here is, if you're not in that kind of mindset of getting testimonials and reviews, you know, really start driving it now, because, you know, if it ramps up in Ireland, then you're going to be ahead of the curve. Okay, so that was, I think, quite a lot to take in. And if you're wondering, well, where do I start with all of this? You know, I suppose it's not as complicated as it looks. I think start small. You know, don't try and do everything. So if you're not getting any information from clients at the moment, a basic survey will be a really good starting point. So I have clients in different industries, including legal, that are sending out a survey to their clients every month, you know, for about €50 per month. I send them a link. They just send it off to their client list, and then they get a report at the end of every month. So it doesn't have to be, it's not cost inhibitive, but really it's about getting the right questions, because if you have too many questions, people won't respond to it. People don't have time for long surveys. But what you need to know is, how did you hear about us? So you can know what channels are working for you. What were your concerns prior to seeking legal advice? If you know what people's concerns are, you can shape your conversation around that when they contact you, so it'll make the conversation more empathetic. Then, how happy were you with the service? And it's great to capture this on a scale of 0 to 10, because it means you can measure your process or your progress over time. But also you can ask why respondents have given a certain score, because then you can get some more qualitative information, and you can gather testimonials at this point. And then would you recommend? And again, that's a scale of 0 to 10, and then you can measure the progress. Now, you could ask what legal help they might anticipate in the future, but actually, in order to do that, it wouldn't make it anonymous. You'd have to find out who's responding. So if it's not anonymous, it might again impact your results, but certainly it's a question that you could ask at that point. So that's it, actually. So in summary, improving your client intelligence will benefit your future growth, as you can see. And, you know, make sure that if your service partners are providing that information that you need, so around your web stats, your social media, you know, make sure they're providing all that for you. but also look at the critical touch points in the journey map and prioritize the critical touch points, and start making reviews and testimonials a priority.
That's good. That's great, Liza. That's really useful. I think there's real opportunities for firms to look at their existing customer base and do a client mapping exercise on it, and to see then how they can engage further to generate more business. So if anyone who wants to ask us, Liza, a question, we've got just a couple more minutes left. So Liza, what if for all of the people there today, just as a takeaway, what would you do immediately leaving today to get started?
Start asking your clients how they feel. Start asking the questions. Yeah. Ask the client. Yeah, they're the best person to ask. So
take out 10 existing clients and start putting the client map on it. And when you say ask them questions, do you ring them up, or do you send them an email, or send them the survey you talked about? Or
yeah, I mean, I think it depends what you want to get from it. An online survey is great. You do need to send it to everybody, not just the people you think will give you a good response, because that kind of defeats the purpose. So, but yeah, online, just like the questions I recommended there, that will give you some really valuable information. And then I think it's just, because I'm conscious, look, everybody is busy, they're trying to run practices, and I completely understand that, because I know from my existing legal clients what a day is like for them. But look at the other partners you have, look at your website, your social media, who's helping you with that. Get the information from them, get them to analyze it and make recommendations about what you need to do. There's no point in having an Instagram account that just nobody is responding to. It's not doing any good. In fact, it's probably doing more harm. So, but tap into knowledge from other people and other experts that can help you with it. And then so going along the journey, having a look at the key touch points, and also, so like we do this at Insight 6 as well, like our researchers measure the engagement at each of the customer touch points. So you can understand how you're performing at each touch point and what you need to improve. So
is there any way that you could over-engage here with your customers and annoy them, or is there like a subtle kind of dance you need to kind of just be aware of, or is more better than none or less?
I think maybe so at the engagement stage, it's good to let the client know that you will be asking for feedback. So rather than them receive a survey in their inbox and they think it's just like junk, let them know that you will be sending them a survey and that you would appreciate if they completed it on your behalf. And I'm quite sure that they will. I mean, people are used to getting surveys all the time now. But I do feel that, I ignore a lot of it because it could be retail focused and I'm just not interested. But with legal, it's a very involved process. It's emotional, it's high value, clients will respond well. Our sort of most surveys, like retail surveys, deliver a response rate of about 2%. But legal is about 30 to 35% response rate. So that's really, really good. But you can do other things. If you have key clients, you can do phone surveys, you can do more in-depth conversations with them, gathering, information about your team members and how they're performing. It's really, like, anything is possible. It's about cutting your cloth, and it depends on the profile of the firm, the size of the firm, and like, I suppose myself and the other directors in the UK have 180 law firms on our database. So, and we have top 100 firms, and we have like small practices. So we're kind of used to dealing with various clients and pulling together solutions that will work for them. So. Yeah.
So I'm just conscious of the time, Liza, so you've been very good to us today.
Okay.
I suppose the one conclusion I'm taking out of all of this is, once you have a customer, it's easier to get more work and business from those customers if you follow this process of the customer or the client.
If you talk to them.
Yes, talk to them and use this mapping as a method of going along. And so there's money to be made out of doing this. It's not just a tick box exercise. So,
no, of course not. It has to lead to business growth. Yeah.
So thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen very quickly there. If I have of next week's sessions, which are coming up, if I can find them. Here we go. I don't know whether they're coming up there. So thank you very much, Leza. Next week, we're talking with Maurice Cullen about effective personal management, and then saving for retirement with Stuart Wan from Mercer, and then efficient working, what is VoIP on the 5th of May, and then protecting your office technology on May the 12th. So many thanks to Leza today. Thank you all for participating in the business survey, whoever has done that. Thank you very much. We've had a great response. And that's it really for today. We'll send out the slides and the recording later in the week. So thank you very much for joining us. And so long.